everyone. Chibi, are you actually there?
Yes, I'm here.
You were spying on me. And then
Yes.
you didn't even answer me after I noticed you were, after you told on yourself that you were spying on me.
Yes. I just didn't want you to do anything silly. No, I'm just kidding.
I suppose Carol's used to being watched, so now it's my turn.
Yes. I looked. She has those shutters on her closet. So when I'm in her closet, I can peek through the shutters.
Wow.
Yep. That's
Scary
the truth.
stuff.
That's the truth and nothing but.
StreamYard is being a bit glitchy with me today, so I might find it a little bit tricky, but I'm going to see how we go. Let me pull up some stuff on the screen because I've got too many windows open as usual. My computer screen looks very much like the paths in my mind. You can even hear I'm like stumbling over every word this morning.
Yeah. Also, we're going to say hi to Heather Brown, our superstar.
Yes.
And she wrote in chat. She said, if she needs anyone else, I'd possibly be willing to read but not be seen. Ooh.
Okay. Sorry, I'm just changing the title of the live stream while we talk. Sorry, that's why I'm a bit distracted because it's changed.
Okay.
While I was doing the last minute looking at it last night and this morning. So let me just do that and then I'll be there.
You do that, and there's people coming in now. I'll talk and welcome them. So if you want to mute, I can hear you tapping away. So mute.
Oh, I'll mute. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. TJ's just come in. Everybody, welcome, love and light for all. Hello, TJ. So we got superstar Heather Brown, aka Hebby, aka Herbie, my love bug, and we got TJ. And it says there's 11 people, so come on, guys, type in and say hi, please. And Amy, I'm going to try to keep up with Amy G today. I've drank a large coffee, and I have one large coffee waiting. So hopefully I'll be a little better today.
I've got a different digital expert today. This is Kai. He studied a master's in Apple iPhone 6Ss at the University of Kitty Cats.
Oh, awesome. Meow.
Yes, he knows a lot, and he's going to be telling us what's been going on. That's why I had to change the title of the video, because he was looking at the data and he was like, that's not a missing video, Amy. That's somebody calling the girls at 1:51 p.m.
Well, what an observant kitty cat.
Bombshell, right? So Kai may be replacing Cecil / Eldridge at the next trial.
Cool. Yeah.
Everyone will want to watch that, Kai. You're a handsome person. Oh, not that I'm saying Cecil and Eldridge are not attractive. I don't know. I don't know what they look like. But anyway, we really do have a bombshell. When I kind of like grasped this in my head last night, I don't think I recognized what a bombshell it was till this morning because I was so tired last night. I hadn't slept that well and I had a terrible headache. So I think today is a good chance for us to get into this. So are you ready to go on a roller coaster ride, Jimmy?
Oh, am I ever?
I'm so excited about this because I think it is big. The problem with this is that it may still, as I always say, not help Abby and Libby because we don't have the Snapchat subpoena apparently. I don't know, but I'm guessing we've not seen it. But it may help understand the behavioral timeline of that day a little bit better. So thank you, TJ. I do feel better. I just hadn't slept well the night before. So I take meds for my ADHD and I forget to take them because I have ADHD. And so some days I take them, some days I don't. The days I take them, I don't sleep well if I take them too late. And then the days I don't take them, my head feels foggy. Anyway, so that's the explanation for yesterday. I'm not sick, just a bit tired, but I had a good sleep last night. I drooled on the pillow.
I'd like to announce who this has a perfect comment. She's buckle up and secure your belongings The ride is about to begin.
Well, it is. Thank you, Hudis. You're 100% right. Now, I know that there are other people who will go live today. So I know that you might be conflicted of who to watch. Watch me, not only joking. You can watch whoever you like, always catch the replay. But I'm excited. And I think there's stuff in today that is new. I don't like to do clickbait, as everyone knows. But the lost tip narrative was one of those examples where we stumbled across something new. And I think today is another example of that. So a couple of weeks ago, or not a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, I put up a video. Actually, I should play it. Give me 1 second. But it's different now. Well, it's not different now. My interpretation is different now, but it's still relevant. Oh my goodness, I've got too many windows today. This is annoying. Okay,
That's
give me
okay.
1 sec.
No
I'm gonna
problem.
just
People pile in. I'll
keep
say
saying
hi.
hello to people. Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry for everyone on the replay for the delays.
So Dennis McKean has shown up. Hey, Dennis, how's it going? And did I say hi to Shay? I did type in chat, but you guys want to hear my lovely voice? Hi, Shay. And Hudis, thank you for the comments. And superstar Heather Brown is going to get a mention every 5 minutes because she's the best.
She is the best. What a lovely person Hebby is. She's wonderful.
So we are contracted. We have an obligation to say hi to Heather at least once every 5 minutes. So if you don't, remind me, please.
So sorry for the people on the replay that are going to have to hear that over and over again.
I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I'm going to share on my screen my own YouTube channel. So I can't get a copyright strike for this because I'm watching my own videos. So what we're going to do is we're just going to watch this one again. Now, bear in mind, my interpretation has changed a little bit, but it's still relevant. So let's just start it. We might start from the beginning rather than the middle. Oops. Here we go.
To the use of the camera app. So just back to Libby's phone data again, looking at the KnowledgeC data that we have as an exhibit from the trial against Richard Allen. And something unusual shows up. If you look on the KnowledgeC data, every single location GPS coordinate is linked to the use of the camera app, whether it be through Snapchat or through recording the bridge guy video. Now, when you look at the timing, there are some unusual events. And one in particular is one that occurs at 1:51. You'll notice that there is a location timestamp at 1:51 and 22 seconds. There's a subsequent one that says location end time at 1:51 and 50 seconds. Now, this co-occurs with Snapchat being in the foreground and then going back to the background. What does this mean? Well, this looks like there was an extended use of the camera during that time frame. And when I say extended use, it wasn't super extended, but it looks like a short video capture. Now, this is news to me, and I'm pretty sure it's news to you too, because I haven't seen anybody mention that the girls were sending Snapchat images or videos during the time preceding the abduction. Who did they send that Snapchat video to? The reason it wouldn't be in cache is either because they deleted it before sending it or they sent it to someone in an instant message. And if that's the case, who did they send it to? Has that person ever come forward? And why was that never mentioned by anyone? Because even if we don't have the data of that video or image, surely knowing who they were communicating with just mere minutes before they met with Bridge Guy on the Monon High Bridge would be incredibly valuable information. And if it's a video file or even an image file, and it is able to be accessed or has been seen by a witness at some point, it again may provide valuable detail. Now, this isn't the only location timestamp that doesn't seem to be linked to any known image. This is really important. Now, it's not odd that the image is not cached, but what is odd is that this has never been clarified or mentioned by anybody. And so to date, we don't know who the girls were talking to on Snapchat as they walked towards Simone on High Bridge. And this is just minutes before they reach the bridge. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. Super keen to hear your thoughts. We may never know who it is or what happened there, but it certainly suggests that the girls were communicating with someone through video and pictures in the lead up to the abduction.
I was muted. Sorry. So my opinion on this has changed a little bit. Oh, wait a second. Sorry, guys. It's gonna one.
It's okay. Ooh, our names are highlighted in pink. It looks nice like that. Pink looks good on me.
Oops, could you hear that in the background? I accidentally had autoplay, so we had the lawyer talking in the background. Sorry, lawyer
Nope.
don't copyright strike me. We're not trying to show
Mm.
his video. It was just that it auto played after mine.
I didn't hear or see anything, so
Okay. Well, shout out to lawyer. You're great. You're great. I like watching some of his stuff, but yeah. Anyway, back to this. So that video I posted a few days ago or last week, I can't remember, but it was interesting at the time. However, I've now added a second part to it, which we're going to talk about today, because I no longer think it's a missing video or photo. I think it is actually a video call on Snapchat that the girls receive, they answer, and they speak to someone at 1:51. How does that sound,
wow.
Shibby?
Mm. I hope we're right, but I mean it's good to question and talk about things for sure.
Look, I can't be 100% sure that
No.
this is correct. However,
So
I would say I'm leaning on the 90%, probably.
that's
Like, I
the
think
that's a hypothesis, an educated guess, or we're just talking here. So I believe you.
yes, of course. I mean, well, we believe Kai. Remember, it's Kai who came up with it, wasn't it, Kai? Good
Mhm.
job.
Yeah,
Okay.
smart kitty.
Kai can't get sued if he's wrong, so that's a good thing.
No treats for you.
No, I honestly really believe this is important. Like, this isn't just a nothing burger, I don't think. But yes, TJ, it could be Brie Wilbur. It absolutely could be. But if it, yeah, I guess it could be, I guess, because that kind of coincides with the time that they've walked over the small bridge and left. It could be, but I don't feel like we've ever heard that Brie Wilbur spoke to her. Did we? I can't remember what Brie Wilbur's statement is. Did she say that she was messaging her or that she actually talked to her? Because I think that's the really important thing here. And I thought, but I could be wrong, that Brie Wilbur said that she messaged Abby and Libby or Libby while she was on the way to the trails. We'll need to double check the testimony there. If anyone wants to do that, please do check the testimony for us, but I'll double check it later too. Today's a little bit chaotic because I can feel the adrenaline pumping through me. And I don't know if that's my ADHD meds that are just kicking in or whether it's a sugar because I had a Nutella milkshake for breakfast this morning, or if it is because this is really captivating me. I think it's probably a bit of all of them.
You know what also is happening? I think Mercury, the planet Mercury, is in retrograde, or it was. So people are acting kind of wacky.
I don't need Mercury to be in retrograde to act wacky, but yes, no, that could be the case too. Look, what I'm going to do is we're going to just chat about this because I think, like I said, I'm a bit chaotic today. But what I might do is later today, I'll record a shorter video. I'll put it in the video section. The video section never gets as many views, but I'll put it in the video section so that it's a little bit more contained. Okay, but for now, I'm just going to be a little bit like all over the place. So hopefully you guys follow on. I did share a link in the chat, which I'm going to share again now, for anyone who wants to be able to fully understand the KnowledgeC, well, not fully, but understand some of the KnowledgeC stuff without just listening to me. This is a document that Kai and I prepared earlier with our buddy ChatGPT. So let me just get the link for you guys for that too.
Yep.
And then we'll just
The
share it
Google,
periodically. Hebby, if you're willing to share it periodically, that would be really, really good.
the Google Docs one, because I have that open
Yeah.
on a
You
separate
guys,
one.
do you
Yeah,
have
I
it?
have
Yeah,
that.
so it's
Yep.
this one. Can somebody share the link for me? Can you share it, Shibby?
I probably could.
Otherwise, I'll see if I can do it again. I should be able
I
to.
got, no, I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it. I got it.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this document here I made with, oops, gosh, now I've done this accidentally, with ChatGPT this morning because I was like, for me, I have to keep going back to ChatGPT to be like, what does this mean? What does that mean? Does it mean this? I've asked a zillion questions, and this is kind of the accumulation is probably not the word, but anyway, this is the summary, I guess, of all of that information. So if you look at this KnowledgeC explainer, and it's a live document, so I'll keep adding to it and I'll correct it if there's any errors. It means you can then look at Libby's phone data and get a bit better picture of what's kind of going on. So what this helps me to do is to create a hypothesis around what's going on in the background at that time. So if I see like movement on, movement off, if I'm seeing GPS coordinates, if I'm seeing this app in the foreground, this in the background, basically this is what I'm using every time I speak to you guys about this stuff to figure out what's going on from a spreadsheet of like 2000 and something lines. So it's actually, once you've got this, I actually think it's less complicated than you would imagine. So I know when I first opened this up, I'm like, I don't know, how am I going to figure this out? And this is basically a bit of a guide of how I've figured it out, but there could be some errors on it, which is why, like I said, I'll keep updating it. Did you have a look at it, Shibby?
Yes, I did. Yes, and I'm looking at it now, and it looks perfect. Better than anything that I've ever done in my whole life.
Well, it's ChatGPT, but it is ChatGPT and me. We work together as a team. These were all the questions I asked. I was like, so what does it mean if movement stops and then it doesn't start again? What does it mean when movement stops and starts straight away? What does it mean if the screen's on and off in 0 seconds, 4 seconds, 10 seconds? Because there are all of these patterns you see. And I always say that I'm a bit of a pattern finder. That is what my brain loves to do. And so all the patterns that I could find, I've tried to explain in here, but I'll keep adding to it. I'm sure there's some that I've missed because I just did this really quickly. I had this idea while I was on a walk with Spooky this morning.
Well, for me, I'm just excited. The other day, I realized when we looked at Yellow Jacket's list, the color coding, and that each two of them were kind of like it was it was logging what was happening and telling you what it was. So it was, So
Yeah.
I'm just trying to still figure things out. So you women are way smarter than me. I'm just trying to keep up.
Well, what I love is that there are so many different minds that come to this space, and they all have we all have different skills or fortes. And I really hope we can work together. I mean, yeah, because Yellow Jacket, the spreadsheet helped me so dramatically. If I'd just been looking at the exhibits, I would have totally struggled. And All Eyes, who brings all of these documents to light and has them accessible so you can easily access them whenever you need to, like that's been super helpful. There are plenty of people who look into the testimony more. I'm not a big reader. So for me, like I'm not going to sift through pages and pages of testimony. So it's great when people pull out the important, relevant parts of a testimony, and then I can kind of look at that specifically or put it into ChatGPT. I think it's so good that we've got lots of people working together. And that's why I thought creating this explainer helps more people get on board. It's not as technical and scary as it looks. So yeah, have a look at this if you want to be able to then go line by line. It's still exhausting because there are over 2,000 lines of data here to look at, but I think it still helps it make it a lot more clear. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to go through all of that.
I'm available for the next 365 days, so go crazy.
Well, I'm free today till 1 o'clock my time, so it's 10:20 now because I do have a client at 1 o'clock, but I'm free till then. So I'm happy. I'm dosed up on sugar, so I'm happy to sit here for as long as we want to talking about this. And as I said, people can come and go and can come back and watch later on the replay, and I will do a shorter video. I'm going to try and do that with everything now, do like short videos later to explain what I've said in this long-winded, going on 7 million tangents discussion that I have with you, Shibby.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I work for myself, so my schedule is very flexible, almost too flexible. And if I'm awake, I'm here for you.
Well, I think it's been really helpful to have Shibby here. I wonder what everyone else thinks. I think that you probably agree, because it kind of means that I have someone to bounce off rather than just talking to myself. And it means that I can check out in real time whether it's actually making sense, because sometimes I worry I don't make sense, not because I think you won't understand me because you don't understand. It's more like I'm not always sure that I'm communicating clearly, particularly with stuff that I don't, that I've just figured out myself. It's not like I have studied this for months and months. So yeah.
Basically what Amy is saying, if Shibby can understand, you guys should all be able to get it.
Exactly. No, it's just nice because sometimes in the chat I'll be like, does that make sense? But then it takes people a while to reply and I can't just sit here silently. Or if no one's in the chat, then I just look silly asking that.
You know what? I got SBD reminded me of something when back like 6-7 months ago when we first started, I was so afraid to put my photo up on my avatar. I finally did. And then FBD did his. And I said, hey, FBD, is that really you in Prof's chat? And he goes, yeah. And I go, wow, it's good to see your face. And he said, if Shibby can do it, anybody can. He said, I can do it. So I thought that was funny.
Well, I think that's wonderful. And you're coming out of your shell, Shibby. We're going to get you actually face-to-face at some point, aren't we?
Very soon, and the whole world will be abuzz. You watch.
For sure. Well, you'll notice I'm actually putting my face on the screen a little bit more now too, but it depends on the day. I've got like my hair growing in at all lengths, so it's some days I'm just like, I look like a Muppet. So, I mean, I don't mind looking like a Muppet sometimes, but sometimes I don't want to. It is hot here. I think someone was asking. It is warm today. It's spring, so it's a warm day.
Wow, it's like 4 degrees Celsius here.
I know. You poor things. We're going into winter.
I heard, didn't you say you had some really nice camera set up that you just haven't taken out of the box yet?
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's the thing. That's the problem with ADHD. You go buy things and then you just never actually get around to it. I've had a smartwatch in the box since, I got it for my birthday last year and my birthday is in 20 days. So I haven't used it in all that time, which is a shame because I kind of need it because it will help keep me fit.
Well,
but anyway.
Wait a second. If you waste time on that, then you can't be going to get more stuff you don't need. Shopping.
Yeah, true. Okay, so apologies as well, Shibby. I know I interrupt a lot. I always try to explain this. When I'm interrupting, it's not because I want to talk over people. It's because, and I think Shibby knows this already, I have this excitability where I get on a train of thought. I'm like, let me tell you now, because otherwise I'll forget. And this is also the reason that sometimes I don't sleep, because I'm like, if I don't remember this now and put this down somewhere, I'll forget. So the millions of tabs open in my head sometimes get blurted out. So apologies, Shibby, if I do interrupt you.
I need it because I get caught in those loops and I'll go around in circles and chase my own tail if somebody doesn't stop me. So please jump in anytime.
Okay. Also, apologies for everyone. I keep delaying the Forensic Unicorn live and I'm sad about it, but it's just because I want to do it justice and I'm caught up on this stuff at the moment. I'm on this sort of train of understanding the girls and the phone data. I want to get back to advocacy for Rick because it's super, super important. Today's video, we are going to have some advocacy for Rick in here too, because what you're going to notice when we talk about the sequence of events on that day is it becomes increasingly, well, I don't even need to say increasingly, it's already ridiculously unlikely that Rick is the perpetrator, but it becomes even more consistent with the girls meeting someone there that is not Rick Allen. So I'm going to explain that. I've always been a little bit on the fence about whether they went to meet someone or not. I did believe potentially they went to meet someone, but I've always believed if they did, they were meeting someone they knew. But then I kind of backtracked because I didn't feel like the Bridge Guy video was them going to meet someone. But now I'm flipping back again because, my opinions evolve all the time. I do think that they were meeting someone. I or at least I speculate that, I don't think they were meeting a catfish, or not a catfish as in someone completely unknown like Kegan Kline. So that's just a summary. We'll get to why. I noticed that we're kind of partway through and I haven't even done the disclaimer yet. So here's the beautiful girls who actually last night I think I felt a little bit heavy because I was thinking about them again. The more that, again, I try to piece together this this timeline of their last day and their last hours, like I really feel the heaviness of it. So I think that was also part of the reason I called it a night last night rather than coming on and doing a live. But the disclaimer here is this presentation is for educational and discussion purposes only. The views expressed are mine and Shivi's personal opinions and interpretations of publicly available information. I don't have any leaks. I don't have any information that no one else has. And I actually don't want any, because I actually don't know if that's going to be super helpful for Rick if I did have that, or for the case. And although I'm a registered psychologist, clinical psychologist, I'm not acting in a clinical, forensic, or expert capacity in this context. So nothing here presented here constitutes psychological assessment, diagnosis, treatment, or expert testimony, but it is psychologically informed discussions. And I'm not a lawyer, not a legal professional, or a digital forensic expert, and nor are my dog or my cat, and nor are you either, Shivi.
No, actually, I barely squeaked through high school, so.
Yeah. So nothing here should be taken as legal advice, expert opinion, or a definitive statement of fact. And if we do mention any individuals, they're presumed innocent until proven guilty in court of law. And even then, they may be innocent, like Rick Allen. So, yeah, that's my disclaimer.
Excellent.
Okay.
I believe the truth will set many people free and bring justice for these beautiful girls and exonerate Richard Allen in the same one swoop.
Yeah, I do too. So today, I think, we'll certainly answer some questions around the potential of Rick being involved. So we'll have a chat about that. And of course, I always rest back on, or at least I have for many months now, rested back on the fact that there is no rational reason that Rick could be involved. But I know some of the things I bring up today might make people say, well, maybe he is, because I'm going to talk about potentially 2 bridge guy people. But I do not think that the older bridge guy is Rick, and I'll explain why, and that's where some forensic psychology stuff will come in. Here's Kai Kai. Kai Kai's just looking out the window at his catio that we're building that isn't finished still. Sorry, Kai Kai.
Hey, maybe we'll call him Captain Kai.
Yeah,
he is
maybe.
running the ship here.
Yep. And maybe if we go viral with our videos, we'll have enough money to make you the catio quicker, and it'll be a better catio. So, yeah, watch this space. Okay. So this is what we're going to look at in the KnowledgeC data. Now, again, I'm assuming that everybody has access now to the spreadsheet. If people don't, let me know, and I'll see if I can share it on the community page. I'm pretty sure it's a shareable file.
Yes,
just
actually, one second.
Yeah.
Where are you in there? Because I'm in.
Okay, yeah.
I'm in it.
I was actually going to give the line by line. That would have been more sensible, wouldn't it? So we're at 151-ish on February the 13th. So the line in the data set is 1788.
I don't even know how to look through this. I'm stuck. So it just says file, edit, view.
I'm also just going to make this link available because I've saved it, and I won't do it right now, but I'll make this link available to people as well. But
one second. I went back to I hit the top one. It says docs. So it says blank document, resume. So your resumes are all here too. So I'd be careful.
No, it's not.
I see it. Somebody's resume. Yeah.
I'll read it. What does it say?
You should. It says your serif, coral, spearmint, lorem ipsum. Whose resume?
Well, that's not my resume, so it doesn't matter. You can read that if you like. Someone's going to post that and say, "See, she's not a clin psych."
I don't know where I am. I must have went back to the beginning.
Okay.
So.
No, you're on the wrong sheet. I'm talking about Yellow Jacket's spreadsheet. Have you got that?
Oh no. Okay, that's why I couldn't find it.
Yeah,
Ignore
no,
me.
I didn't copy
Sorry.
it. My document is just the iPhone KnowledgeC explainer. That's going to be that's a document for anybody to have a look at whenever they want to decode the
Okay.
data themselves. So if you want to go line by line through the data and you want to understand it, use the document that we posted in the chat, the KnowledgeC explainer. I'll also put it in the community page for you guys to look at, and I'll keep updating it as more things come up. If you've got any questions that aren't on the explainer, when I put it on the community page, type in the comments any questions and I'll keep adding to it. Of course, I always give full disclosure. It is AI generated, but generated by the questions I ask AI. So it's a bit of a kind of team effort. So if you just put into ChatGPT, explain all of the things on a KnowledgeC data set, it will give you more generic information. And to be honest, it gave me some stuff that I deleted because I was like, nope, we've already debunked half of what you've said, ChatGPT. So yeah, if you've got any questions, let me know and I'll add them in accordingly, and we'll kind of use this as an ongoing document anybody's allowed to use to understand the KnowledgeC data set.
Well, for me, I'm in StreamYard and I can't. It's blurry as heck. I can't read it at all. And
Okay,
I have a
that's
YouTube
okay.
open.
I'll bring up the data set in a minute. Okay. So don't worry about
Okay.
that. If you can't see it on the screen
Okay.
right now, don't stress. But if you are following along, it's February the 13th around the 151 mark. But we'll look at it in detail in a minute. But that's just a picture to like on the presentation to say this is what we're going to look at. I'll try and also make the presentation available, but this one's only a few slides. It's not got a lot of information on it. So it's basically just says the Snapchat video call at 151. The arrows are pointing at where I think that's happening and what the data might reveal about the girl's final moments. Okay, so this is it again, blown up. Can you read it now, Shibi?
Yes. Yes. That's much better. Much
Okay,
better.
cool. Well, this is what we're going to look at. I mean, we can look at, because we've got a few hours today, we can look at the data before and after as well. But we may have to split this. I just feel like this KnowledgeC stuff is just like 50 videos worth, because every time I look at it, I see something new. And I try to go line by line through it and it just takes hours. So we may have to separate this out. But today we're going to look specifically at this portion and then we might expand it. So we'll keep this up on the screen. Or I'll keep going back to this on the screen because this is the timing that's most important. So what you're going to see here, and we're going to talk it through in more detail, but just a summary, is we know that every time we get this here, location, timestamp, and a coordinate, that is the camera app being used, okay? So it doesn't happen every time you use Snapchat. It doesn't happen every time you use any other app unless you're using the camera, or I think it would happen if you were using maps. The girls don't use maps. At least I can't see that on this data set. The only things that the timestamp coordinate seems to correlate with is camera usage, which could be Snapchat, it could be Facebook, Instagram, or just using the camera like they do in the bridge guy video. So you'll notice that is when it does this location timestamp and accesses the coordinates. Okay, so that's not just my speculation as well. I believe that's a known detail about what iPhones do. There may be other apps that access the GPS coordinates, but in this data set, I'm only seeing it being linked to the camera app. Okay.
Yes, I'm still here. I'm with you.
Now, why it's important is in this case, we don't just have one. So in a lot of the others, there's just one timestamp for each photo. You'll see if you go up earlier and you see the photos of the girls in the car, they've got this one like location timestamp line, which is in the blue here. This one had two, and that's why I went, wait a minute, why are there two? And they're, about 28 seconds apart. What could be the reason for this? And then I recognize this is the start and this is the end. So to me, we'll go back there in a minute. That meant that there was an interval that the camera was being used. Now, that could have initially, I thought, been a video. It could be them creating a snap video and sending that as an instant message. That's still a possibility, but I think it's a call, and I'm going to explain why over the course of today. Let's just go through the summary slides, and then we'll come back to it and really chat about it in detail. So the mysterious 151 GPS entries, actually, it shouldn't just be entry. So Libby's iPhone logs 2 GPS entries at 1:51 p.m. from the same coordinates. So the coordinates don't change in that 28 seconds. There is no photo or cache evidence tied to that timestamp, so nobody's ever spoken about it. It's not one of the 4 photos that they have discussed. And every other snap had photo evidence, either cache traces or screenshots, descriptions. So we haven't seen some of them, but they've all either had a description, and the only one that's challenged people has been the 207 one, but we still have a screenshot of that. So even though it wasn't in cache, there is a screenshot, and I believe there's still some fairly understandable explanations for why it's not in cache. That's not what we're going to get into today. So to me, my theory then was, initially, was it a video? And I think it is video related, but then I recognize it's most likely not just a video, but a video call. Now, the Snapchat cache may not store a video if it were an instant message either, so that is still a possibility. Basically, I think my understanding is that if you send a snap as a message, a direct message, it may not store in cache. If you post it to your story or memories, it will be in cache, at least temporarily. Okay. And obviously, if you're making a phone call, it would have been cache, I'm guessing.
Can I just jump in quickly for our North American viewers? Cache in Australia must mean cache here. And
is that what you call it?
We say cache.
Oh, there you go.
And Superstar just showed up. Mino Dino's in chat. Everyone, welcome. Our
hey, Dino.
Handsome, hairy, friendly Sam Squanch from Wisconsin. Dino. That's
Very
it.
cool. We got a few of our mods in here. I am not watching the chat, so I have no idea who's in here. And I know it's on the screen too, but I'm actually looking at the shared screen. So apologies, not ignoring anybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I've got all of these new subs as well. It's just amazing. Can't even explain how much gratitude I have for everybody who actually engages with my channel. I'm beyond shocked that people actually want to listen to me. So thank you. And I know they want to listen to Shibby. Maybe it's Shibby that's bringing them all in.
Yes. Did you know what it's called? It's My Milkshake Brings All the Girls to My Yard.
Right. Okay. Perfect.
It's a rap song. Sorry.
No, I do. I know the song. Don't worry. Okay. So that was my theory. Does that sound like a good theory, Shibby? Like, what do you think so far?
Ooh, it sounds very good to me. I'm on the edge of my seat, literally listening to you.
It is. This feels like lost tip narrative style. Like I'm excited for that reason. I feel like this is another one of those. I've got to give it a better name than the mysterious 151 GPS entries, because that's kind of boring. But yeah, anyway. So was a meeting arranged? So this appeared consistent with chatting to someone. Okay. I'll get to that in a minute. Let's go back. So let's have a look at the sequence here. Kai's just, he's coming in for a kiss. Hey, sweetheart. You're so excited about this part, are you? Yeah, he's giving me little headbutts. Okay, so what you see is when the girls get out of the car, there isn't any activity. They unplug the phone, and the phone does go up another % after they've unplugged it. That's just because it rounds up. And so, it could have been just still getting some juice. They've unplugged it. It's then refreshed, and it's saying 28%. Nothing odd there. We then get the screen coming on at a couple of minutes into their walk. So they've been dropped off by Kelsey. Probably at the latest they've kind of left is about 1:49 exactly, I would say, because that would be 20 seconds after this, unplugging. That would be the latest that they'd left, because what we see with the movement as well is that in that 2 or 3 minute period, they've done 288 steps and 164 meters. And if you look at Google Earth, which again, I could pull up on the screen, I should, right? Because I guess we're trying to be thorough here. Give me a second. I had it prepared at least this time. Okay, so I don't like Google Earth because once you minimize it on the screen, it's impossible to. Why do they have all of this stuff around it? Can you make it full screen? It's really annoying. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And are you guys seeing Google Earth, Shibby?
Yes. Yes, I see it. Perfect.
Right. So the girls are dropped off here. This is Mia's. right? Oh, I need to get rid of this measure thing. There we go. Okay, right. So this is where they're dropped off, right? So then by the time we get the coordinate timestamp here, this is the coordinates that we're going to talk about in a minute. They've walked to the trail split and down onto the 501. So if we measure the distance there, we've got about 70 meters to the trail split, and then we've got about another 224 meters, it says, to the GPS coordinate, or 200. So now obviously this is a rough estimate. It's not perfect. So if we go back now, so what did I say? That was 211. And we go back to sharing this tab instead, it's saying 164. So it's underestimating it. But again, I think that Apple Health data, particularly back in 2017, isn't going to be to the meter or to the step. What I did notice was 288 steps to me is about 2.5 minutes of walking.
Right. Plus, these are teen girls. So is it monitoring them, stopping and messing around and going back and forth and playing with their hair, you know?
I don't know. And the thing that I know is, and I checked with my PT yesterday, I was like, I find I walk about 1,000 steps in 10 minutes of kind of normal brisk walking. So for me, I kind of think 100 steps is about a minute. So that logs perfectly, right? So if they got out of the car, they've been walking for about 2 minutes when we get this movement stop, 288 steps. So that makes sense. There might have been a few extra steps accounted for, because remember, it was logging movement while they're actually in the car as well. So while they're in the car, the old technology, I don't think it's the same now, would still measure the movement, even though you're in a car, I suppose. Again, this is a technical stuff that I'm not so good with, and Kai's gone now, so I don't have any helper. But yeah, do you know what it's called? Should be the thing that measures movement in the iPhone. Not the gyroscope.
Some kind of gyroscope. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So back in those days, and I don't know if it's the same now, but back in those days, the movement would still have shown as logging. I actually do remember using, I think, like, I'm not sure if it was Fitbit, but something back in the day where you could actually go in and look at your data and mark where you were driving. So it kind of took that off your step count. So yeah, anyway, so long story short, this maps with them having walked to a point on the 501, which matches this GPS coordinate here. So they've gone past the trail split and they've walked a little way onto the 501, probably not halfway, but certainly past the trail split. And what you see happens here is the screen comes on without the phone being unlocked. That's a notification, or it's a jostle of the phone. But given that Snapchat app goes in the foreground a second later, that is a Snapchat notification, okay? So Snapchat notification comes up. The fact that Snapchat is in the foreground before they've unlocked the phone, not suspicious. What this is likely to be is that the Snapchat has popped up, and it's potentially, I think in this case, a video call or a call coming in, and therefore it's in the foreground. You know how when you get, I get this all the time with Messenger. My niece calls me on Messenger all the time. You know, the phone can be locked, but it shows on the screen, you know, so-and-so is calling.
Right.
Swipe to answer.
Yeah, notification. Yeah, notification.
Yeah. So the notifications come on with a call. She's then unlocked it 4 seconds later, which is consistent. You know, 4 seconds would be about the time, you know, your reaction time. Maybe it's in the pocket or whatever. And then notice the movement stops and it starts straight away. Now, that doesn't mean that movement stopped and they just stood still in place. What it means is that the cadence of the movement can change. So that's in the KnowledgeC explainer sheet. So movement stopped can mean movement stopped. So if you see movement stopped and nothing after it, then that suggests that movement actually stopped. You just put it on the shelf to charge it or something.
Right.
But if you see movement stopped and then movement started immediately, that's more likely to be a change in the speed or the pace of walking.
Yeah, because the movement started at the exact same time. So
exactly. So this to me is what happens when you're on a walk and you get a phone call and you kind of fumble around to get your phone out. You know, you might kind of slow down and kind of stop, but you're not completely stopped. You know, you might be kind of ambling around. You may be staying on the spot, but it's still going to process that you're not stopped at the point that the phone is completely stationary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, like you stopped, but you didn't stay stopped.
Yeah, but it won't be logging necessarily steps in that time, but it will still say we know that the person carrying this phone is not lying down. The phone is not on a bench. And this is why another really important thing about Apple Health data is that within a segment of data, so like this 288 steps, this isn't meaning it's the exact number of steps per minute, because in that range, however long that was, if it's 10 minutes, they could have done the 200 of the steps in the last 2 minutes, and the first few minutes just be them kind of swaying and standing, or in the car in this case. So the car part of this portion of this would not be logging many steps, but it would still log movement. So I think it sounds like it's sensitive enough, Apple Health, that if somebody's holding the phone, it logs it as movement. But if the person is literally has a phone on the ground or on a bench or a table, it's movement stopped. Does that make sense?
Right. Even if you're moving the phone, because it will also know that it hasn't changed GPS coordinates, so not to
Yep.
count those movements, most likely.
Exactly.
But it's probably not
Exactly.
perfect, but it's pretty good,
Yep.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because you'll notice in Libby's data earlier that day as well that there are not massive periods where movement has stopped. It's mostly active, right? So when it's stopped, it really, to me, suggests it's on a table, or it's really not being interacted with at all. So anyway, we can go back over that later. But what's happened here then is that movement stop goes with the phone being unlocked. So it suggests obviously a change in how Libby is interacting, or not interacting with the phone, but yeah, that she's changed how her movements are, which makes sense. We then get this timestamp, which is where we just looked on the map. So it's around a third of the way down the 501. And we get the screen off then 20 seconds later. So essentially, she's got this notification. 4 seconds later, she's unlocked it. And then 20 seconds later, the phone gets locked again and the screen goes off. So to me, that suggests that she's interacting with whoever she's interacting with for that period of, what is it, 16 seconds? Yeah, 16 seconds. Now, 16 seconds. So let's actually do this. Shibi, we're going to do this together as though it's a quick phone call. So when we get to, can you see on the screen where it says live 4722?
Live.
Don't worry, actually, you don't need to see it. We're just going to start. So we're going to do a phone call. I'm going to tell you when to start. And all I want you to do in the phone call, Shibi, is to be like, oh, hey, where are you at? Are you nearly here? Or something like that. Basically, as though you're waiting for me somewhere and you're checking if I'm nearly here. Okay? So I'll tell you when to go.
Okay.
And we're going to see what 16 seconds looks like. Don't worry. I'm getting there. Counting down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello?
Hello. Are you almost here?
Yeah. We just got out of the car. Kelsey just dropped us. We'll see you in a minute.
Okay, I'm waiting.
Right. Can you see? That was 12 seconds. So what does that suggest? They're already walking on the trail. They're not at the trail split. Initially, I was like, are they at the trail split? Are they trying to figure out which way to go? Are they meeting someone somewhere? But to me, they're already on their way to the Monon High Bridge. Someone calls them because I think that person is on the first trestle and feeling impatient. The young person that Betsy Blair sees. Just a minute later, Betsy Blair sees the same person about 2 minutes later, and he's looking expectantly. Remember, she says that? He's a young guy, and he's looking expectantly as though he's waiting for someone. Now, she would see him after this call. So he or she, I think it's a he though, has called and said, where are you guys? Because he's expecting that they're going to be there soon, because there's more Snapchat entries earlier where they're interacting with people. He's called them. They've said, yeah, we're nearly here. And he can see they're on the trails. They're on the 501. So when Betsy Blair comes up, he hears the footsteps or sees a flash of a person. He thinks it's them, but then realizes it's not and looks back down. Meanwhile, Betsy Blair turns back and she walks past Abby and Libby. They're not on the phone then either, because that call had happened a few minutes earlier. So what do you think?
Is this the part where she says he had poofy hair? I don't see how you get that wrong.
So, and he was younger. He looked younger. He didn't look like
Right.
Oldbridge guy.
Yeah, no,
I do believe now that maybe there's two people. So
definitely.
this is now where I'm going to go completely into speculation. So bear with me, but I do think this is relevant. So first of all, let's just go through the last bit of this data. So then what happens is she turns her screen off and she locks the phone. And the reason the location start and end are 28 seconds, not 12, is just because there's lagging with this stuff. So we've talked about this before. The location timestamp, it's not immediate. There's a lag with this. This is why sometimes the location is slightly off and things like that. But basically, then the screen comes on again 7 minutes later, but it's only one of these blips. Right? There's a few blips in a row and they kind of very soon after each other, very short blips of either 0 seconds or 4 seconds of being the screen being lit up, which to me suggests potentially, getting the phone out of the pocket, jostling the phone around, maybe as you're hugging someone or, you're gesturing with your hands. I mean, I just think they're not true. There's no notifications. They don't unlock the phone. And interestingly, it seems as though they don't need to check Snapchat again because maybe they've met up with whoever it is that was calling them back here a few minutes ago. Now, this would mean, so 7 minutes from there to there. It's interesting as well. I can't go down on that because that's not the actual spreadsheet. I'm going to put the actual spreadsheet up now. Okay, so we get that happened, the lock, and then we've got these screen on and off events. 7 minutes later, and then they continue until we get again a change in movement at 2 o'clock. So if we go to, there's just so many screens to put up. I wish I could put them all up at the same time. So by the time, what have I just done? I don't want to do that. Okay, so here we've got where the video call would be. They're then walking this distance here to about 2 o'clock, which is when movement stops. So you can see when you zoom into this map, how do I get it to go down? Like I said, I'm not good with Google Earth. Oh, here we go. I just do that. So when we look at the the steps ending the movement, it tracks pretty well to here, this is actually that point. That Snapchat is not that. That is where the movement end seems to log in terms of steps and meters, which is interesting because that is the first platform of the Monon High Bridge area, right? So it's around here, which is the first platform area. It's early on in the bridge. So I know, sorry, this can be a bit confusing. I'm confusing myself. So apologies if it's confusing to anyone. We'll try and make sense. We'll have a good chat after this and see what everyone thinks. But my sense is then that at some point between 1:51 and 2, they meet this person. And this is what this sort of jostling of the phone and stuff is, because the distance they walk and the steps, 593 steps, 367 meters, should not take 7 minutes to walk. It would take probably half of that. And so the fact that they're taking longer to walk that doesn't mean that they stopped and waited anywhere. They were still consistently maybe moving, but the movement was slow. So were they stopping and pausing and chatting with this person when they saw the person? Were they deciding what they were going to do next? Should we go over the bridge? Should we, what are we doing? Like, it just seems like something was going on in that time period that accounts for why they're not walking as quickly. They're meandering a bit. There's more steps here than distance, if that makes sense.
Perfect sense. Perfect.
Okay. So then we get, we get a few more of these on-offs that are just, again, they're just tilts of the phone, essentially. So they don't mean anything. It could be, my sense is that at some point Libby is holding her phone in the pocket, and at some point she brings it out when she's walking on the bridge. And I think that's why we're getting more of this stuff going on. I think that once we start seeing this stuff going on, she's actually on the bridge with the phone in her hand. And that's why we're seeing more of these screen on and off events than we would have previously. Nothing suspicious, just that when you're holding the phone in your hand versus in your pocket, you're going to tilt it or accidentally touch the screen, and you'll get these little blips. They're not notifications. They're not long enough to be her actually checking the phone. Usually a checking the screen of the phone, checking the lock screen, the light stays on for a bit longer. We see those earlier on in the data set. We'll talk about that later, but they're usually about 12 seconds because she's actually checking and reading the lock screen or checking, the notification on the lock screen. So my sense here is that she's moving with it in her hand, which makes sense because we know that a few minutes later she takes the photo of the bridge.
Right.
Now,
And also, can I add that at first I was thinking, remember how you have that raise to unlock, but I don't think they have that enabled because it would happen faster. So
exactly.
it's just a notification turning that lock screen on.
Yes. So I think either it's a notification turning the lock screen on, it's her pressing, we do that. I do this all the time on my phone where you just press the screen
you hit the button.
Particularly if you haven't looked at it for a few minutes. And then I think the really short blips, the 0 to 4 seconds though, are maybe a brush with the hand on the screen. When you're holding a phone, it could be a tilt, but the tilt would turn the screen on, it doesn't unlock it. But it's basically it's a user action, but an unintentional action, if that makes sense.
Right. I do it always to check the time even.
Yeah. But the 4 seconds or the 0 seconds is too short that it would be intentional. It's probably unintentional, just like I said, holding the phone in your hand and you press the screen and the screen activates and things. I wouldn't know. I always have mine in low power mode, so it doesn't do a lot. But yeah, so essentially that maps well with them walking on the bridge, which is what we know they're doing. Now, I don't know this actually. Can somebody confirm, and Shibi, you can probably confirm, or someone in the chat, when they the first picture that's on Libby's phone of the empty bridge, is that looking towards the south end or the north end?
I believe the north end. Aren't they all?
Yeah, I think she's at the north end, but is it panning over the bridge, capturing the bridge as it heads towards the down to hill area? Is that what's in the distance? Whereas the Abby photo's the other way?
I believe all the photos are heading to the beginning.
No, who just knows this is good? So, see what I mean here. Why is nobody in that picture? Because they're all on the north end of the bridge, including whoever they've met. Yeah. So they take that picture before they are crossing the bridge. Then they cross the bridge, and then she turns back to take the picture of Abby. Now, my sense here is, why do we not have someone else in that photo? Because whoever young bridge guy is with Libby or further ahead at that point. I think he's the person helping them to decide to cross the bridge in the first place, right? So they're crossing the bridge.
Do you have the photo?
What's that?
Do you have that photo?
Oh, I do, but I'm going to fidget too much trying to find it right now. Yes. But yeah, so the photo of Abby is where she's standing. Behind her is the north end of the bridge, the Mears side, and Libby is a few meters away taking the picture. So I actually think that whoever young bridge guy is that they went to meet, a friend, someone they're comfortable with, because they don't look scared in those pictures. Those pictures, and they're putting them on their Snapchat story. They don't seem concerned or worried. Right now, you could say somebody else take the first picture and put it on their Snapchat, sure. But the picture of Abby, she doesn't look worried in that picture. She looks like she's posing for a beautiful shot on the Monon High Bridge. It's a beautiful picture of Abby. And I know some people say it's not real. I believe it is. And so what I'm getting at here is, I think young bridge guy is with the girls, and he's the one leading them across the bridge, saying, let's go across the bridge. And they're comfortable with him. They're not concerned about him. He doesn't scare them. He's young, and he's someone that they meant to meet, right? But then I think this is when things change. I think after 2:07, when that picture's taken, he goes off ahead and he crosses the bridge quite quickly and is over down that side. And this is when old bridge guy turns up. And this is when the girls start to get scared. Libby then quite quickly starts to probably make her way down to the other side of the bridge to follow this young guy who they think that they're with and they can trust. But I think he disappears down the hill. I think he's a lure. I think he's luring them in, and then they're trapped on the other side by old bridge guy. And I think this is why then Libby's talking to herself, or maybe she is talking to someone. We can't see this person, but maybe they're ahead and then they've gone by the time she pans the camera around. Maybe that's why she's saying this is the path that we go down. And she's thinking to Abby, if we need to go down this path, because whoever we were with went down this path.
Yes, perfect. I agree.
It's very haunting, and it makes me really sad because I feel like somebody deliberately lured them out there. They trusted this person, and then behind them came someone that they were freaked out by, and then the panic sets in.
Yes. Yes. I've always believed that too. Kind of like I'm corralling them in.
So if there's two bridge guys, if there really is a young and an old, that makes sense, right? So then we have to say, well, which one was seen on the trails earlier? So I think Betsy Blair sees young bridge guy for sure. Old bridge guy, is he seen by the other girls? I don't think so, because they also talk about a young guy and the clothing doesn't match. I think old bridge guy is hiding under the bridge, somewhere. I don't know if you can get to the north end underneath the bridge. Like, can you get there covertly? You could, couldn't you, from the cemetery, right? Like past the crime scene, and you could walk through the brush there. I think old bridge guy was already waiting there. And he's waiting for young bridge guy to get them across. They wouldn't see old bridge guy, and then they're trapped. Now, some people will then say, well, then old bridge guy could be Rick, right? Because then it could be Rick. He was waiting on the 505 bench, and now he's followed them. However, first of all, Betsy Blair doesn't see somebody walking on the 501. Secondly, why would Rick do that? So this is really, really key here. This is where we get to the sort of forensic psychology angle. Why on earth would Rick decide to gang up with whoever this young bridge guy is to abduct and murder two girls? What on earth would be the motive there? Now, some people would say, well, he's part of that crime ring, or whatever it is, offender gang. I mean, come on. First of all, we have no proof of that. There never has been. Then other people might say, well, he was blackmailed to do it. And I've explored all of these, and we can talk about these more when we talk more of the forensic psychology stuff longer term, because I've got a lot more to say about this stuff. But why on earth would Rick be blackmailed into abducting two girls?
Right.
Who dis? The time of the car scene on the Sandefers is 2:07. Yeah. It's 2:07, but I don't think that could be either of these guys, but I do wonder if that's another person involved, because I believe this is multiple people, and I'm not going to say the names of those people, but there are people whose names have been floated around, because I think whoever they're meeting is someone they know, and we know that there are people they know who are related to gangs of people who could potentially do something like this.
Yes,
so I'm read between the lines who I think they are. I don't think it's Keg and Klein. And the reason I don't, sorry, Shibi, I will let you have a word in eventually, but let me just set this point out. The reason I don't think it's Keg and Klein is because I looked at the data and the research around, or data, as you guys say, around catfishing crimes. And realistically, it just doesn't match the MO in lots of ways. First of all, I could not find a catfishing crime that was similar to what happened to the girls, where there were two victims. So generally speaking, a catfisher who's luring someone out to abduct and murder them only wants one. In fact, not generally. I couldn't find any case. Secondly, the girls, their whole behavior just doesn't match girls who are being catfished either. Usually there'd be a lot more extensive grooming, and as I said, it'd usually be one person. Look, I don't know 100%, but I also would suspect it'd be someone who was more socially isolated and really wanted validation, and therefore was like willing to go and meet someone. The fact is, Anthony Schott's profile is absolutely obviously fake, and the girls would probably have recognized that, and the average person or the average teenager does apparently know usually when they're being catfished, but sometimes they still go along with it because they enjoy the chatting, the validation, the flirtation. The majority of kids do not go and meet someone they've met online. It was about 8% is the statistic. I'm going to do a whole video on this. But secondly, when that happens, generally they've had some sort of more communication with that person to know that they are who they are and trust them. Also, if it's Keg and Klein, if they were on a FaceTime with Keg and Klein or a Snapchat video, they're going to straight away see Keg and Klein is not who they think he is. Secondly, right. Betsy Blair doesn't describe someone like Keg and Klein.
Right. Or maybe the girls believe it was one of their friends and they knew it was, but they played into it, investigating, trying to see who they caught, who it was.
Yeah, exactly. I guess what I'm getting at here is I don't think that they were fooled by a silly catfish person. I
Right,
don't
right.
get that feeling. I don't. I think
Well,
they were fooled by someone they trusted.
yeah, especially when a guy, because Keegan Klein, Anthony Schatz, was putting Lamborghini photos and all this. Like everyone knows, nobody's driving a Lamborghini around there and stuff, a yellow Lamborghini. And also, I've always thought if it's Richard Allen, if he were to meet people, it wouldn't be any of these guys. It would be another guy like him. That's completely normal, in my opinion.
Exactly. They never found links. They've never found links to Rick. And it's been 3 years now since his arrest and his incarceration. Like, come on. They've never found any links. None of his previous phones had any information either on them. There's nothing that indicates that deviance. Then on top of that, if we say, well, did he owe someone money and therefore, he's covering up for someone, or did he not realize he was luring them to be murdered or whatever? Again, Rick doesn't have any money problems. Rick doesn't have any drug history that we're aware of. They would have found all of this stuff. So no middle-aged dad who's got no criminal history just goes, oh, I'll just help this gang of people abduct and murder girls, and then I won't tell anyone. And again, the blackmailing theory also, because this is one I've definitely explored, it also doesn't ring true, because if he's being blackmailed, then why would he confess, then not confess, plead not guilty, go to appeal? Like, just logically, either he's scared of these people and they're threatening his family, so he's going to do whatever they want to, take the fall for them, or he's not. But with Rick, we see this flip-flopping, which is because he psychologically decompensates and is very unwell when he's incarcerated. It's not the sign of someone who's feeling scared and blackmailed and worried for their life, so they're just going to give in to these people, because otherwise why would he be appealing the conviction if he's worried that they're going to hurt Kathy or something? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he was broken. They broke him down.
Right. Exactly. It's a psychiatric, it was the manipulation of his mental state. It's not, I don't think he's been blackmailed into confessing, because then he would confess more accurately and he would stick to it. So I guess, yeah, I mean, look, I want to go into a lot of that stuff a little bit more in detail in another video, because I think it's quite there's a lot of research and theory, heavy stuff around forensic psychology and victimology, as well as profiling in the more psychologically based angle. Keegan Klein also, from my understanding, was not charged with any crimes of direct contact with minors. Now, I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm not saying he's a good person for doing, that he didn't do that, but it's a different MO again. It's his MO is that of, the CSAM kind of community. So again, I just don't think Keegan Klein's involved in this. I think Keegan Klein is involved in some other really disgusting stuff, of course, but I don't think Keegan Klein was meeting the girls or involved in this. But who I do think is another local gang of people who had links to Abby and or Libby or their friends. That's how they knew the girls were going to be there. The girls seemed quite intent on going to the trails that day. However, they didn't have a set time in mind either. So it suggests to me that someone local who's like, yeah, come along, come to the trails today, let's hang out. And they were willing to wait for the girls to have confirmation they were coming, because they knew it wasn't going to take them too long to get there.
Or even just if a boy suggested that, hey, I might be around there that day, or they heard from another person, they might just go to hopefully bump into them too.
Yeah, but I think given that phone call, I think that person was getting impatient. Where are you? Are you nearly here? They have that quick call. He then looks up, sees Betsy Blair, which is why he's looking, because he's looking for them. And then Betsy Blair walks off and they walk up. That also looks innocent. So if anything goes wrong, if there's another person around, nobody's going to suspect him of doing the wrong thing. And so once the coast is clear, once there's nobody else around, and they've got, I believe, that old car at the old CPS area is also monitoring everything, that's when Oldbridge guy comes out, scares the girls, and takes them down the hill.
Now, is it also possible, because when I was that age, I would go to the sketchy places just like this and wait for hours just to get a gram of weed, to pick up something. So I'm not saying, but I mean, at that age, I would be smoking joints and going to pick up, drugs sometimes. Not heavy drugs, just weed.
Just one sec. I'm just going to let Spooky out. Keep talking. I'll be back in a minute.
So I've always wondered if that's a possibility because at 14, I was up to a whole lot of no good. So maybe somebody, um, or they maybe had an extra gram or two they wanted to sell, or we'd pool our money together and buy like, a quarter of hash or weed and then split it up because the more you buy, you get a better deal. So that could be possible.
So you mean like maybe they were meeting someone who was going to give them stuff?
Maybe they were going to buy weed, or if you purchase a quarter of weed, and then sell the other half, you can almost get yours for free. So our friends used to do that with each other all the time.
Yeah, I mean, look, why they were meeting that person who they were meeting, your guess is as good as mine. Interestingly as well, they weren't super dressed up to meet this person either. Again, to me, I don't know if that's what the research shows, but if they were meeting a catfish or some guy they've never met that they really think is hot, would they dress up a bit more? Would they wear makeup? They were just dressed casually and normally. I get the feeling it's someone they're familiar with. They weren't scared of this person, but this person said, let's go over the bridge. Let's go together. And Abby was lagging behind because she was scared because she's not good at being on the bridge, But yeah, I really feel like there are the two guys. I think that there are the two bridge guys. And I think that I know lots of people have said it, so that's not a bombshell. There's no bombshell about saying they're meeting someone or any of that stuff. The bombshell is the phone call, because there is a phone call that's a video call that matches what we're describing. It's someone saying, where are you? Are you nearly here?
Right. And the bombshell is also that Nick is so certain that fuzzy video of BG is RA, and they're so certain that he's the murderer. Makes me wonder.
He acted alone.
Well, I've always wondered that maybe the state acquired information to know more than they do, but they're not allowed to share how they got it. So that could be part of the reason that they're so certain that they had illegal cameras out there, the state, and was watching their citizens illegally, and that they can't say how they know, but they're so sure that something like this happened. It's the only thing I can think of is something like that. I've always thought that. Not sure, just thought.
Yeah, I suppose, I guess there's big questions here. Why on earth is it that none of the the digital forensic experts have spoken about that call? Now, I'm not suggesting Eldridge should have, because essentially she can only answer the questions that she's asked on the stand. But why on earth did Cecil, Bunner, law enforcement, why did nobody worry or wonder who it was she was speaking to? That's a call. It's not just a message. And I think Trial Junkie said way back at the beginning, could it be Bree? I mean, that is still a possibility. Maybe they stopped and they said hi to Bree, but I don't remember that being in Bree's statement. I feel like it was like they sent messages on Snapchat, and those to me align better with when she opens the Instagram story as well, because when you see the Instagram story, I do believe those are Bree Wilbur's photos. They're from the first trestle and under the bridge. I think the conversation with Bree Wilbur happens, closer to about 1:41-ish, right? So which then matches with when Bree Wilbur and her friends were leaving the trails, right? So they were like, oh no, we've already gone, right? So anyway, I mean, yeah, it's interesting. So when you actually go back in the data as well to earlier in that day, you see more of this stuff going on. And I mean, I can go through it sort of step by step, but I think that's probably another video. But it definitely indicates to me, it seems like Libby was waiting on hearing from somebody earlier in the day. She's checking her phone a lot, as though she's waiting to hear back and confirmation from someone. We see around the same time that all of that's going on, we see her send a message to Anna Williams saying, can Abby stay for dinner? It sort of seems like they're making this plan around that time, that it's like, let's figure this out now. Like, let's make this plan with whoever it is that we're desperate to meet today and see.
Same with me. I'm always checking my phone because I'm like, is it Nicole? Is it Hebby? Is it Amy? Something exciting? Or is it just Dee Dee? And then I see it's Dee Dee and I go, ugh, it's just Dee Dee.
Meanie. Okay, so I mean, look, I guess that in a nutshell was the main thing that I wanted to raise today. There are so many other chunks of data to talk about and to talk through, but I kind of don't want to like mix them all together. I think they're all kind of separate. One thing I will say though is that I still stand by my other statement that I've made before, that the phone is effectively dead at, or in very like in a sort of absolute fast asleep state, I suppose, at 5:45 onwards. And that's because we do not get any screen on and off events after 5:45. So that's a fact, not a fact. Sorry, that's something that I wanted to again spell out. So maybe what I might do, because we've still got a little bit of time, Shibby, we're going to pivot because we're going to go back to this stuff around victimology and catfishing and who they might be meeting. I think that's a whole other video without the technical stuff.
Can I just jump in for 1 sec?
Sorry.
One
Yep.
sec.
You
Heather
talk,
wants to know.
I'm just letting Spooky. I was going to say I'm letting Shibby in, but I'm letting Spooky in.
Okie doke. Heather wants to know if you want her dropping any special links in the chat. Let her know. I think, Abby, anything you think, do what you feel. Right.
It's just still the link for the KnowledgeC explainer. If you want to drop that again, Diana, yay!
Uh-oh, Dee Dee's ears were ringing. She heard me.
Yeah,
Dee
she heard you being rude about her.
Where the heck were you, Dee Dee?
Nobody's rude to Diana. She's one of my besties.
No, but I'm always there for her. Without me, her life would be in shambles. And then I'm on air here and I need her support and she's never here for me.
Why do you need her support? You've got me and Hebby and Dino.
She's like a support blanket or a support animal. She makes me feel fuzzy and warm and good. And I just need her around more. Dee Dee.
We all need her around. We all love to see
hurting
Dee Dee.
Me. Don't hurt Shibby, Dee Dee, please.
In terms of the links, Hebby and Shibby, if either of you can just drop that KnowledgeC explainer link again in the chat. And as I said, I'll post it on the community page. So anyone who wasn't watching the chat and doesn't want to go through it all, I'll put it on the community page. If you've got any other questions about the KnowledgeC data that you want me to add to the explainer or explore, if there's anything on the explainer that you think are incorrect, let me know. If you're going to say it's incorrect, though, just make sure that you've done your research. That's all. Because it's okay to make mistakes, but like sometimes people go all out and go, that's completely incorrect. And I'll be like, but I've actually shown a video that supports it's not. So that's all. Just be polite. Just be kind. And don't call me a liar.
Constructive criticism is always welcome because I learn best when I make a big mistake. And I'm like, ooh, I'm not doing that again.
Exactly, right? I mean, the thing is like, I've even changed the title of this video over the last few hours because I was like, wait a minute, maybe it's not that, it's that. Like, it's totally okay to evolve. Like, this stuff's hard. I mean, I don't know this stuff. Like, I'm figuring out as I go along. So, yes, Diana, I have got an unusual fellow on my channel today that I'm trying to help.
Oh, ouchie. Dee Dee's got an ouchie. Dee Dee, you hurt me more by not being around here.
You know, we've got some of our regulars coming in later, or some of our chatters from the last one coming in later. We've got Sarah and Silent. Guys, go back and watch. The bombshell's already been dropped. You've missed the roller coaster ride. But
yes.
But what I was thinking.
Hey, Scott. Hi, Silent G. Hi, Scott.
So what I was thinking we might do is actually pivot to one more topic, and then I will let everybody go and I'll go and actually do some of my real day job work, some of the administrative stuff that I should be doing when I'm looking at the KnowledgeC data. I just want to pivot back to the later data on the spreadsheet after the bridge guy video. Is that okay, Shibby?
That is perfect. Anything you want to do.
Okay, so we're finishing up with the mysterious 151 Snapchat call, the young guy, young bridge guy, old bridge guy meeting up with someone topic, but we will come back to it because that felt a bit hectic in my head. I think given that Shibby's saying he's following, I think hopefully everybody was following. But yeah, I'll do a shorter video on that that's without Shibby, even though Shibby, you're not the reason that it's hectic, it's me, but I'll do one that's a bit more planned. So anyone who wants to just watch that without me going over a million different tangents and opening 7 different screens, I'll make just a small structured one. I'm going to start just doing that, just making like short, like I've made one the other day to clear up some of the errors. We're going to just continue to do that. So if you want those videos, they won't be lives, because the other day I did it as a premiere and it was like 2 minutes long. So they will just go straight to the videos section. So check those out,
Right.
but we'll continue with the lives because they're more fun, right?
Well, honestly, I think I'm just here as eye candy, really. So
Of course. Oh, we've got Cryptex in the house. Cryptex is literally, I would say, the brother channel to Daisy Ask Cryptex is like, don't put me in like next to you. But the reason I say that is I'm going to mention this when I do come up with when I bring up the video that I've got planned on confirmation bias. Cryptex is one of those people who is so open-minded, is so respectful of different opinions, and really just doesn't want to exist within an echo chamber. And I love that about Cryptex. So just really want to say that. Really appreciate Cryptex. Cryptex thinks that Rick is probably involved. He thinks that Ken Klein's involved, which is different to me. And yet he's so respectful, and I'm respectful of him too. So, yeah, just a really genuine guy.
you know, Amy, you're starting to get a type here, an older, handsome Canadian man.
There you go. Maybe I need to move to Canada.
Come on, come in the summer. So in July.
I'll be there. I'll get my passport ready.
Unless you
Yeah.
want to see snow. Have you seen much snow? Sorry.
Oh, we go to this, like, we've got one snowy area in Australia that like literally has snow for a couple of months, and my kids like insist on trying to go there. It's so expensive. But
Oh my
no, I
gosh.
haven't seen much snow. So we
Well,
tend to go to the snow once a year for like a day.
it's free out here. If you had skates, you can go. They have ice rinks everywhere. The public can go and use for free, and just
Ooh.
tobogganing down hills and stuff, and riding tubes. It's
My kids
all
would love
free.
it. There you go. Maybe you've
Cross
sold us. Maybe
cross
we'll
country.
come there for our holidays next year.
You would really love it. So I'll escort you anywhere you want. If you guys come on down, come on up,
Perfect.
come on wherever.
Remember though, you'll need to
Over.
have your earplugs in when we come, because you'll have 3 of us. And if Nana comes along too, Nana can talk as well. So, you know, you'll have a whole car full of people going.
No problem. No problem. Hey, no problem. I'll wear my Bluetooth headphones.
And I just give you a little anecdote about my kids. So it's simultaneously cute but so annoying. They're like, Mama, yes. Can I ask you a question, Mama? Yes. Mama, yes. Mama, yes. Just say it. So yeah. Anyway. I just wanted to say Cryptex as well, because I know a few people who've come in now are the people who like coming in for the bombshells. Watch the replay, or like go back to the beginning, skip the first 10 minutes or so, and then you'll hear about the thing that I believe is a bombshell I haven't seen talked about up until now. And yeah, let us know what you think. We'll do another live on this, because I think that way people can catch up and come back and chat once they've looked at it all, and, you know, been able to slow down my over the top tangents.
Well, there'll be many more lives featuring Shibby here, because once Amy took my cherry, or no, maybe it was who took it? Somebody
was
did.
me.
I'm out of the box now. Yeah, Amy
It was
did. Yes.
me. I get credit for
You
that.
you always remember your first, and I'm here for you.
There you go. Yep. There will be plenty more. My kids asked me yesterday, what will my channel be when this is finished? I'm like, when's this going to be finished? I can't even imagine this being finished anytime soon. So, you know, we got plenty of time plenty of things to talk about. And I always do, like, just when I think I'm like, I don't know, have I got anything else to talk about? And then like 7 ideas flood into my head. So there's plenty more to go. There's a lot of forensic psychology related stuff that I have not been doing yet, because I think I'm more perfectionistic with that stuff, because I'm like, I feel like I've got more to lose with that, because it's supposed to be an area I know more about.
Yeah.
But I've definitely got lots more to talk about with Rick himself, because I think definitely I've pivoted more to speaking a lot more about Abby and Libby, which is super important too, of course, but it's less relevant to Rick. But there is way more stuff that's coming that is going to convince you all, yes, you, Sarah and Cryptex, that Rick is innocent. And I've got lots of gems there. I'm just being perfectionistic, and that's why I'm delaying.
Right. Also, it kind of reminds me when Dee Dee first showed up in Prof's chat and mentioned she was a therapist, a psychologist. I said, "Wow, no wonder we get along," because Dee Dee and I were kind of like joking with each other. We didn't know each other. I said, "No wonder we get along because I'm the perfect patient." So
I think Dee Dee and I might disagree with that, but okay. Yeah, that might be what your therapist tells you. Is that what they're really thinking, though?
a perfect patient with yeah, lots of weird stories.
Okay, so that was a nice little break to just have a bit of a chat. Let's get back into data now. Okay. He says
Yep.
he's
Sorry.
Scott's saying he's down to mid 80% certainty of his guilt, down from 98% before my channel. There you go. 18% drop. We'll get you all the way. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'm sorry. We'll get you all the way. I make everyone go all the way, don't I, Shippy?
Let's go all the way.
Okay, all right. Let's get back onto the data. So I'm going to stay on the KnowledgeC spreadsheet, but we're going to go down a little bit further. Thanks for sticking with us, guys, because we've been talking for a while now. We're shifting gears back to the very, very sad final moments of the girls' lives now. So this is more somber, I know. Just again, also want to really clear up again, because this is one of the things that people are saying I'm spreading misinformation about. That is that you can't record from the lock screen. You can, can't you, Shibby?
Yes, you can. We all know it.
And the fact that the camera app doesn't come in the foreground is explained as well. It's in my document that I've made. That's the explainer. It's nothing suspicious. It's just it's suspicious in the sense that it's consistent with covert recording. So it's suspicious about what was going on. The data itself isn't suspicious. Now, I'm not suggesting that this data doesn't have elements in it that are problematic. I believe that there wasn't some of the verifying hash codes. We know that I feel that there was a lot of screwing up with this, but, to actually tamper with this data set in a meaningful way would be really hard to do. But anyway, I'm not going to talk about that too much. I do believe there was something on Twitter as well over the last day or so about the iPad and apparently the factory reset. So my understanding is that the iPad, by the time Indiana State Police decided, maybe we should actually look at that iPad again, it had been factory reset. But I believe that was a few years later. It's when Cecil came on board, which I believe was 2019-ish. I think it was later. In 2017, it's hard to understand or know, did they do a Celebrite extraction of the iPad then or not? It doesn't seem as though we definitely don't have that data. Did they do it? I don't know. I think that is suspicious, but it could also be incompetency as well. So anyway, let's get back to this. So after the bridge guy video, we have the video stopping abruptly and we have the screen off and a touch ID. I feel like that's the fumbling with the phone. When we look at the angle of the bridge guy video right at the end, it really is consistent with Libby's been holding the phone like this and her arm goes out because she's going down the hill. So I think then the fumbling with the phone has led to the phone, unfortunately, stopping the recording. And whether she deliberately then tries to do the touch ID to get back into it because she's scared and she's trying to access help or not, I can't be sure, but or whether it's just an accidental touch. But what we see is then a whole heap of screen on, screen off events, very similar to what we talked about before, which are consistent with her position or her holding the phone and it moving. So she's got it in her hand. We know she's got it in her hand. So through that period, she's got it in her hand and it's probably jostling around. And that explains the screen on, screen offs. They're not notifications. They're not active engagement with the phone. As far as I can see, I think the longest one is 8 seconds. The rest of them are 0 or 4 seconds. And the last one of the screen off happens the same time then the movement stops. And again, we know that the movement stop here doesn't have a movement start straight after. So this is a blunt stop. So for me, I have always believed that this is the phone being affected by the cold and or the water. It could also be the phone being dropped. That basically something happens to that phone at that moment because movement stops abruptly and doesn't start again. And we know then we have these screen off, screen on events again. They're very brief. the percentage of battery starts dropping more rapidly. The audio output route end time, again, not suspicious. That's the routing, again, it's on the explainer to do with the audio being processed from the bridge guide video. But the battery starts to drop. We don't get a lot of screen on and off events during that time. So to me, that's consistent with the phone, as I said, either being dropped somewhere very cold, which of course the ground over there by the creek would be cold, or it being splashed with cold water. And from that point on, the phone does not act normally. Okay, so from that point on, nothing is normal, and that's consistent again. And I'll go over this again in a short explainer video because it's technical. I probably need to read off my notes for this, but I don't have them here right now. But essentially, there's oddities after this. Okay, we've got the screen, the screen's still going on and off. We've got this weird sort of flights climbed and movement stopped again and movement start again. Like there's just, and the distances, the steps, they don't add up. They could potentially be the accelerometer coming back to life and I'll get back to that. It could be the accelerometer coming back to life and capturing them as they're coming out of the creek or walking towards where the final crime scene is, or it could just be a glitchy artifact and, data just kind of coming out of nowhere because the phone is glitching. So one of the things as well is that the battery doesn't drop immediately. The movement stops immediately because the accelerometer would be more sensitive to that cold and or water. The battery would start to drain slowly, like it would speed up, but not super speed up, and then it completely speeds up. And the screen on and off, it continues for the first minute, probably after it's affected by the cold and or water, but then it kind of also goes silent for 5 minutes as well. So again, could it be going silent for 5 minutes because it's on the ground? Yes, potentially. But essentially, again, when we we link it to the fact that the battery is dropping significantly as well, I've really explored the two hypotheses. Is the phone dropped and then picked up after 7 minutes and it's on cold, so it's still affected by the cold. There is definitely thermal shock. Or is it them walking through the creek and it's affected by the cold water? Both of those are valid theories, but I think this one to me makes more sense because I don't think that this movement here represents them walking across the creek. It's not long enough and it's odd. So if we go here, we've got the 2 flights climbed, which could be the creek bed, but we've got 66 steps and 60 meters. It's not a lot of distance. Now, I know people who don't believe that the girls walked across the creek would say that doesn't matter, but to me, I do believe that they went across the creek for multiple reasons. That's another video too. And then what happens is after this, we see, sorry, Shibi, I'm just like motor mouthing it through it, and then I'll ask your thoughts, okay? Then we start seeing this percentage drop further, and then there's a big gap here where there's nothing going on until this SMS message is received. But you'll notice that the screen doesn't come on before that SMS message, so now we don't have the screen coming on for notifications and messages anymore, which is inconsistent with the previous data. That could be because the batteries drop so low, but then we have these random screen on and off events. I actually think this is me accidentally typing in here, so I think I've done that to this. But you'll notice the screen doesn't come on for events anymore. It just randomly comes on and off at various times and for various intervals. It's no longer the 4, 8 seconds, 12 seconds, etc. So to me, this is the phone completely glitching, essentially. And then finally, we get the 5:45 mark where the screen no longer comes on and off. So that's the last screen off, and we don't see anything further. There's no more screen on and off, which suggests that the phone is in a deep sleep state. And a lot of these things that are then logged after 5:45 are potentially artifacts or refreshes once the phone is plugged back in and has power. So the phone is not dead completely, obviously, otherwise Cecil wouldn't be able to, or Bunner wouldn't be able to do what he does with the phone. But essentially once it's right down in a low powered state, it's not doing anything, and then it then when it's plugged back in and comes back on, then all of these things that are server related all refresh onto KnowledgeC, something like that. I'm not giving the technical explanation very well, which is why this one will come in a technical video where I just read off my notes. And one last thing I just want to say about this, and then we'll go to Shibby, is that going back up, that there's only one voicemail message that has any seconds of voicemail in it. And I believe that's Derek German's voicemail that was received during this period where the phone was completely blacked out and glitching straight after or around the time that the girls, I believe, were murdered, and that it was lying under Abby's body. You'll notice that the one voicemail that actually has content to it comes from an unknown number. That is the AT&T or Verizon number. I think it's AT&T. And that is the only voicemail that doesn't have a name attached to it, because it's the only one that actually has content in it. So I think what's happened, as I mentioned in a previous video, is that the voicemail service is calling back with that voicemail. And I do believe that's Derek Sherman's, which is why his number doesn't show up on the screen, because that call came in when the phone was completely defunct or not working during that key period before it woke back up to get a few more messages at 3:15. Okay, sorry, I went through that really, really quickly. What do you think, Shibby?
That sounds great. Yeah. So is it possible those screen on, screen offs are them nervously checking the time to get, to get the screen to turn on, just hitting the button?
No, not the ones after. The reason I say no quite definitively is they could be, but they just don't match the behavior of the phone when Abby's checking it. I'm sorry, Libby's checking it. They're too long.
But if there's notifications that you would say there's Snapchat in the foreground and stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's not saying anything, right? So
yeah.
Now
and they're also they're not linked to the event. So you'll notice, like, in the past when they get a text message coming in when the phone's operational, the screen goes on with the text message notification. But by this point, that's not happening, which could be because the battery's low. But what is happening is the screen's going on and off at random intervals in between, with no real rhyme or reason. So yeah, I mean, look, I guess I imagine there'll be some people who would still say, well, that's the offender sitting with the phone, switching the phone on and having a look at the screen and then switching it back off because it's clusters around these events here. It's possible, it is, but it doesn't look like user related checking the screen. It looks more like it looks more like a glitching of the system, but I can look more into that for sure.
Now, one last thing, I'm not sure what year Apple started it. I don't think it was back then, but you know how you can hit your power button like 3 or 4 or 5 times to notify somebody you're in an emergency secretly?
Yeah.
I don't think they had it back then, though. But
No. And I know, again, I've heard it speculated that there's some point where there might be a 911 kind of activation. I don't believe so. I think it's just a normal routine AT&T kind of, server thing. I don't think the girls were able to do anything, because I think until the point where he actually gets to the end of the bridge and says girls down the hill, I think they're still hoping for the best. I think they're still and I think they're frozen as well. I think, this is the explanation for why the girls don't talk properly. Like, when they get to the end of the bridge, they're not like, what's going on? What should we do? I mean, Libby stays incredibly calm, but Abby just seems completely anxious. And that could be a combination of having crossed the bridge, but also that this guy's been kind of gaining on them, and whoever potentially they were meeting, and this is my speculation, has run off. So suddenly they've realized perhaps that this is a trap.
right.
I mean, I used to wonder if they were meeting somebody who they had a relationship with, who they were, breaking up with or upset with. And so it wasn't all fun and games to begin with. But then when you hear the description of some of the photos, we haven't seen them in the car with them poking the tongue out and stuff like that. They don't seem as unhappy. But I mean, Abby does not look happy in those car photos. So I do wonder who it is they're meeting and what they think is going on with that person. I feel like it's someone they know and they're comfortable with, but they're, is Abby upset with that person? And when that person runs off across the bridge, and another person who's older, who they may know that person, and that's maybe why they're also a bit creeped out. Is that person related to the younger bridge guy?
Right. And Abby, to me in the video, that last step when Abby steps off the bridge, I see her nervously getting across a scary bridge and elated, almost happy, nervous that she's off the edge of the bridge, not afraid.
Oh, so you don't think Abby's too afraid at that point?
No, she's nervous, but elated that she's off the edge of the bridge. in my opinion.
I think there's also, I mean, that's actually a possibility. I think there's a lot of non-verbal communication that goes on between Abby and Libby in those intervening seconds. There's a point at which they pause, and you can see that Abby's, further off down the south side, and I mean, not much, but a few steps further, and Libby turns to her, and that's when she says, there's no path there, so we have to go down here. And then it's literally like 2 seconds where they just pause, there's nothing, and they're turned to face each other. And I wonder if Libby, this makes me really sad, but I wonder if Libby's actually, like some way non-verbally communicating to her, this is really bad, we've got to go down here, we've got to get away. And then you'll notice when we slow that video down, the instantaneous movement of Abby and Libby down the hill. I actually, when I was really slowing down, I've got to look at this again, feel as though Abby almost starts going down the hill before he's finished saying down the hill. So I wonder if their plan was to go down the hill non-verbally to get away from him, because that was the only escape point they could think of to get to the private drive and get away. And so when he gets their guys, and she does flinch, so whether there's a gun or a weapon or whatever's going on, they're like, we've just got to go. And they go immediately to try and actually evade him, even though they're going down the hill, which is where he's saying to go. Where else can you go? There is nowhere else to go there.
Well,
so I feel
you
like
can
they
go,
try to run away.
You can go straight back to Weber's house.
Yeah, I don't know why they've decided not to do that. There's something there, isn't there? There's something.
Because there's somebody there.
I wonder, I mean, whether this young bridge guy is out where he ran, and they were like, oh, crap, he's over there. He's behind us. Let's just go down this steep slope. It's quick. We can get there. We can get to the private road and start running.
Right.
I don't know. That's my sense of what happened. I feel like they did run at the end. I really do.
Now,
There's a
few videos. There's a few videos on YouTube where a person walks across the bridge and follows the old train track path all the way into town. So you can just keep walking straight. And there's a YouTube channel, Jeff Lebowski, that has all those really nice videos of him walking around every single path in that area.
Yeah. Yeah, I want to keep looking, like, to be honest, and understanding, like, what would that path have been like if they'd just gone straight rather than down the hill, and whether that would have been, why would they not have run that way? But I just feel like there's something going on between them. They're communicating. I feel like Libby is just, I say this every time, but what a bright spark. I really feel it in everything I see in her actions. And I'm not just saying that to glorify a victim, because I know we all do that sometimes because we want to, honor them. But I actually do think that she stays remarkably calm in her voice. The fact that she has the presence of mind to covertly unlock that phone and start taking that video, I honestly think she'd thought it out. That's why she turns around, she looks, she's like, what do we do? Crap, like, what do we need to do? And so by the time that Abby runs past, she's literally like, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah, or at the very least, pretending to video Abby only to catch him in the background, really, because she's suspicious of him.
Yeah. So I guess I really feel that deep kind of protectiveness for both of the girls, but I feel a real deep protectiveness for Libby's honor, I suppose, if that makes sense. Like, not that there's anything dishonorable if they were meeting a catfish and, they got tricked or anything. It doesn't mean she's dishonorable. She's a teenage girl. But I just feel as though she was brighter than the average girl and wise, and it would be so sad if all of her efforts to be so brave in those final moments don't get put to good use, because they haven't been. They haven't been put to good use by, like Nick McClellan said, because I know it sounds like I'm echoing him, but you know that I'm not, because I don't think that they have been, because Bridge Guy is not Richard Allen, and whoever did this to them, it was personal and it was horrific. And I mean, obviously we know that already, but I don't believe it's Rick. And so she's taken this video and it's completely been in vain, because they haven't caught the true offenders. And instead what's happened is they've caused another victim out of this whole tragedy. Another man, another girl that's now lost her dad, and a grandchild that's never going to get to meet the grandfather, and a wife that's lost her husband, and a mother that's lost her son. Like, it's just like, you know what, let's just add more victims to the equation, because that's not what Libby would want. And I know I can't speak for her. I'm not Libby, but if I were Libby, like I would be literally, if you were able to see what's happened after your death, you'd be like, oh my gosh, like this is even bigger injustice. It's even worse than the injustice of the two of us dying in vain in such a horrible situation. But now there's another man being tortured for the rest of his life in jail and another family that's been torn apart by this. It's not the right outcome. And meanwhile, whoever did this, whichever people are living their life protected and getting
Right.
away with it.
It's a temporary peace of mind closure, but in the end, I couldn't feel good knowing that I'm not sure they caught the guy.
No.
And after that trial and that investigation and trial, there's no reason to believe it's Richard Allen.
And I'm honest, like when I started looking at this again yesterday and thinking, well, there might be an old guy, and then the old guy, you know, looks more like, a middle-aged man. I still went back to my mind again and questioned, okay, well, then could it be Rick? But again, I then was like, wait a minute, but it couldn't be. First of all, he'd have to get from the 505 over to the bridge without Betsy Blair seeing him. Then secondly, what motive would he have? And then I went through all the things we talked about before. Was he being blackmailed? You know, but none of it adds up. And 3 years now, 3 years since his name came to light, the fact that in those 3 years there is nothing to indicate Rick Allen has any deviance. And we will talk about this. It's coming.
Right,
the
right.
forensic unicorn. It
Good
just
point.
doesn't make sense.
Good point. Now you'd think, okay, beforehand nobody tipped him in or said anything, right? But afterwards, after they knew it was him, nobody, you'd think people would come out of the weeds saying, "Oh, he did this to me, he did that to me, and this happened," and nothing except that one Walmart incident, which is questionable at best.
Oh, exactly. I mean, like we said before, I mean, then essentially that's like me and Diana and Carol saying, well, Shibby used to say, he was hiding under our beds. And, like that's what that sounds like. It sounds like your sense of humor, even if those statements are true, which, like we said, are questionable at best because of the platform that they were raised on. But yeah, there's no indication of, like we said, financial problems. There's no indication of drug problems. There's not even actually any substantiated information about alcoholism, which was said by Walla, sex addict and alcoholism. Well, no, because they would have his files from the psychiatrists or doctors that treated him in all of those intervening years, and nobody talks about that. Nobody talks about, repeated issues with alcohol. Now, of course, again, you could be a really functional alcoholic, but I'm just saying, like, essentially, we're not hearing this. We're not seeing a wife that's now divorcing her husband, which we do see in a lot of those other cases, like Dennis Rader's wife and stuff. And yeah, we're not even having people come out of the woodwork and say, well, he wasn't very likable. No, in fact, I remember seeing someone on Reddit, and I don't know if the post is still there, that they were like, I worked with him and he was a nice guy. And people in town saying he was a nice guy. I mean, he printed the photos for the memorial free. And I know people like, oh, sick, he was like inserting himself in. Well, even that trope of the guy that likes to insert themselves in, the offender, the psychopathic offender, it's so rare. It's not a common occurrence. And when they do, they don't insert themselves in by saying, I was there and let me give you as many details as I can to make myself look guilty.
And also, they don't come 2 days after and then wait 5 years for their next insertion. They would be like, after 6 or 7 months, they'd be like, oh, maybe I should write in an anonymous letter or a phone call. But they wouldn't wait. They wouldn't just do one insertion and then stop if they're that maniacal or devious.
And can I also tell you that, and we're going to get to this when we do the forensic unicorn in full, but also let's be real here. None of those guys that are the adult offenders, the late onset offenders, or any of these sadistic killers, I couldn't find one that went to jail and then decompensated 6 months later and confessed. So either they confess straight away or they never confess. Or, they confess to get attention and to be like, look at me. Like if you see Dennis Rader talk about what he did, he's so proud of himself. You don't get people going, I think I did it. I might have done it. Maybe I did it. Like 6 months later when they're having a psychotic episode. That just doesn't happen. He's not a psychopath. He is not a sadist, and I actually am saying this almost like factually. Again, I'm not diagnosing. I'm not, but he does not show any of those indicators. And so if he is, and we're all wrong, well, then this will be an incredibly interesting documentary one day, because it would be so unheard of.
Right. Like, as a man, I don't want to keep saying this, but you put me in solitary for 3 months, and hardly having showers and stuff, and then you send in a female to be my friend, and I guarantee that she's wearing perfume and smells. He would probably smell her coming down the hallway. As a man, you notice those things, and the perfume and the smell of a woman's conditioner and shampoo. We really notice that because we don't use all that stuff as much. And I would be just like, yeah, stay and talk to me. And like Ron Logan would say stuff just to get his teeth back too. So all those things, they were playing tricks on Richard
Well,
Allen.
yeah, look, having been a prison psychologist as a woman, I can tell you that the inmates all want to talk to you. They're like,
Oh,
Miss,
for
I've
sure.
got mental health issues. And I'm like, what are your issues? Tell me. But even the ones that are genuine, like, you're their friend. You're the only person that they even feel they can semi-trust in that facility. And like I said, our facility, the one that I worked at, was not anything like Westville. But yeah, like at the end of the day, also, I mean, at the end of the day, this phone data as well, I believe, debunks the fact that they crossed the creek later to begin with. We already debunked that because the van couldn't have even been there even as early as 2:25. But even if you want to say it was, yeah. Anyway, I've been on this rant for a while today. It's been nearly 2 hours, and thank you,
Yep.
Shibi, for bearing with me with so much information dumping that I've been doing and just talking like a motor mouth. But let's just spend the last 10 minutes just having a chat with the chat, yeah?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. Any, you want to address any questions so we can look through?
Yeah, should we have a look through? Well, if anyone had any questions that they wanted to ask, put them back in the chat now as well, because
Yes.
then we'll probably see them. But I'm just going to say
Well,
hellos to all the people. Hi, Anna Lizette. Thank you for joining us. Nicole, our lovely friend, is here.
Heather asked a question, but I'll rephrase it a bit. She said the only real questions are: did anyone see a little person? And number two, who's involved?
Yeah, right. Good question, Heather.
Like,
No, nobody did.
always, if anybody saw Richard Allen, their first words would be a short man. A first words,
And
no
to be
matter how you
honest,
saw
I
him
think the
from.
fact is that he wasn't seen, because again, people who believe he's guilty will say, see, he wasn't seen, so he was covertly there. No, he just wouldn't be, like, he would be noticeable if you described him, but he wouldn't be noticeable if you're just walking around a park.
Yeah,
We know Bree Wilbur, Rayleigh Voorhees say they saw other people on the trails that day that are unaccounted for. Now, I don't
and she was
necessarily
up
think
to
those,
the shoulders. She was up
yeah,
to
and
the shoulders of one guy.
I'm not saying that the people that Bree Wilbur, oh yeah, you're talking about Bridge Guy, are you? But I mean, I'm just saying that they said they saw other people on the trails that day. Now, I'm not suggesting there were hundreds of people on the trails that day, but I still believe one of those people they saw on the trails that day could have been Rick Allen. One of them could have been Betsy Blair. Betsy Blair's memory, it's not that she's trying to lie, but it's not the greatest. She gets cars muddled up. She gets her loops muddled up, right? So I'm no shade on Betsy Blair, because I can't remember people that I see when I'm out and about on walks. I can't remember exactly where I went, even like 2 days ago. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. Well, I check out, but usually I can't. So I'm just saying, like, memory is fallible. But yeah, if Bridge Guy was the only person that they all do remember, and none of them said he was short, that is important.
Well, that's another good point, is that they act like everyone that was there saw everyone else that was there,
And they
and
didn't.
nobody missed they act like that, and we know that's not because they all seen three different people, in my opinion, and each one of them didn't see the person the other person saw. So that would make three witnesses, different witnesses. That makes 5 or 6 people,
Look,
possibly four
I
people.
probably take an approach of saying that they all probably saw the same person, but their descriptions vary because of their memory. But I think one of the things that I pointed out, no one really liked my memory research video. It was a very low rating video until the YouTube algorithm decided to advertise it to people in all sorts of international countries, and they clicked on it and didn't actually watch it. So it's got the most views, but not the most view hours. But what it says is that like our memory for salient things is better. Like as in like I'm going to notice someone who looks scary walking past. I'm not going to notice the middle-aged man who's on his phone walking past. Now, that's why I think that point in memory for all of them is quite correct. They did see the scary guy. However, was it the same? Like, was it the same? I do think it was the same potentially, but will they know the dress habits of exactly what they looked like? No, because you'll notice the scariness, not necessarily the details. Remember, we talked about this as well, didn't we? About how like the frontal area of the brain, the part that's like kind of more involved in like cognition of thinking, when we feel a little bit of a spike in like scare factor, we're not thinking so much. We kind of go into fight or flight response.
Right. Like I can understand forgetting they had a hat on or not, but the whole facial hair and age discrepancy, I find that very, very hard.
I think also though, this is another one of those times where there's a lot of playing that telephone game, because when you read the testimonies on at trial, they sometimes differ from some of the narratives I've heard said about what they saw. And then of course we also can't even trust what they said, not because of them, but because we don't know where the 2017 interviews are. A lot of them, it seems they're basing it on their interviews in 2019, not a lot of them, but Bree and Betsy Blair 2019, 2020. So like, I mean, their memory has faded, but also memory contamination. I mean, I did this the other day, or not the other day, a few weeks ago, when I was like, but there wasn't enough blood at the crime scene. Well, you know where that came from? That was from watching Andrea Burkhart when she was doing commentary on the trial, and I believe it's in the Frank's memo, someone said as well. But like, that's not in any of the testimony. But because I'd heard that, I took it as fact.
Yeah. Well, I was there watching Andrea. I watched Andrea Burkhart live every night and was in that chat every single, even for 4 or 5 or 6 hours. So
we're kind of biased by the lens through which we're hearing information. And again, I'm not suggesting even again, those channels are trying to be biased. I'm not suggesting anyone is. It's just we all remember different things. And, we saw that through the trial coverage, that you'd get, 4 people in the trial doing their kind of post-trial debriefs, and they'd all have a slightly different spin. Some of that, yes, people might say is biased because of whose side they're on, but some of it is literally just mishearing of information. Because, I have to read it 50 times and I still forget things.
It was intentional by Gull to make it hard for the information to get out. Also, there was times when people were speaking to the microphone and they asked if they should get closer to the microphone, and Gull said yes. Meanwhile, before they were telling them to back away from the microphone and stuff. So there was a lot of intentional muddying of the information.
Yeah. Hey, Peggy, thanks for joining us as well. Sorry, Peggy, I haven't got back to you as well. I wanted to get back to you about talking about the KnowledgeC data. Peggy's great at like unpacking this sort of technical stuff too. So I like to have a chat with what she thinks about it too.
Peggy's all right.
There's some people in the community that are willing to like chat it out together and kind of like hypothesize, and I think I really like it when that happens, because it's like, it just means instead of being like, no, you're wrong, no, I'm right, like it helps us all evolve our opinions. So yeah, Peggy's definitely done that. She's not someone who goes, no, you're wrong, I'm right, which I appreciate.
Actually, yes, she's very good and reasonable and a good communicator.
Yeah. Okay, so sorry, we went back off on our ranting. Shibby, did anyone else have anything that they wanted to say? Any questions, any comments? Definitely check out the KnowledgeC, what did I call it? I forgot what the name of what I called it, but it's like basically a little bit of a primer that I've been making with ChatGPT. The KnowledgeC, I'm going to put it up on the screen. Explain.
Well, I got an idea. Since you're the brains of this operation, how about we all just pay attention to your posts and anything between lives you want us to look at or remember, or you post it, and then we'll all share it and we'll all be on the same page when we come back to meet next time.
Yeah. So I think maybe what I should try to do as well, because sometimes I just get this urgency to do things. But if I can try and make sure I put like some of the presentation stuff, some of the materials up on the community page, then you guys can access it a little bit earlier as well, so that you can look at it and have it ready to go. But yeah, I hope that this KnowledgeC explainer helps everybody, because I think like that means I kind of just want it to be like you guys can then, like, if you know what each of the lines means, then you'll be able to put your own interpretation of the kind of sequence, because that's what I've been doing. And I didn't have this magic knowledge from anything other than my magic cat, i.e. ChatGPT, essentially. So, but you do have to ask the right questions in ChatGPT. And I know we talked about this last time, but ChatGPT doesn't work simply by saying, tell me this or tell me that, like, because it will lie at times. Sorry, ChatGPT, but I'm going to out you. You do lie. And it will tell you what you want to hear, and it will sometimes misunderstand things. So you kind of have to sometimes take what it says with a pinch of salt and do more digging. But the more questions you ask, the more you can sort of get accuracy. So this explainer has come from me inputting the KnowledgeC data into ChatGPT and then saying, what does this mean? Why does this happen? Are you sure that's what it means? Like really kind of cross-examining ChatGPT on its interpretation of it. So I kind of
Right.
let ChatGPT be Cecil and I'm the cross-examiner.
Plus, don't forget the first hour and a half you had Kai whispering, purring and meowing in your ear, all the
Okay.
things you should say.
Spoiler, yeah. I mean, you've outed me. I have a magic cat and a magic dog that are digital forensic experts. So I have been cheating, guys. Kai and Spooky are the dream team. And then I get Shibby in here. Like, gosh, it's none of this is me. It is the pets and it's Shibby.
I bet if you turn that camera around, the cats and dogs are sitting there with those cue cards, writing down stuff on chalkboards and, flashing lights and holding applause signs and laugh signs. They're the
Why do you
true
think you
brains
never
of the
see
operation.
Lulu? Why do you think you guys never see Lulu in the videos, right? Because that's her job. And that's why when Spooky needed to go to the toilet, I had to just leave because I don't have anything to say if he's not here.
Yep. They're the producers. They're behind the scenes, but they're pulling the strings.
Yep. And that's why whenever I do these videos from my car, they're never as good because I don't have the pets in the car.
Exactly. You're on your own there. It's like you're lost in space.
So my advice to you guys is like go and get a cat or a dog or both if you can. 2 cats and a dog, good combo. And then you can be as clever as me.
You know what? I need to go get a new rescue cat because Max is gone and I'm kind of over it. And now his bed was sitting on our treadmill there and now it's gone and I'm just miss seeing him sitting there. So I think we need a new cat.
Well, let's rest in peace, lovely Max. And Max will send you, we'll guide you to your new baby.
Yes, I'll rescue him, a new animal, and they'll rescue me.
Absolutely. Well, you got to keep us updated on that because I
need to get a dog.
Kitties.
I need a dog because every time my daughter, when she goes away, I dog sit her Australian Shepherd, and I find when he's here, I just out every hour or two when I don't usually, I'm going for walks more, so it's a good thing. I'm gonna get a new dog soon.
It's a good idea. Get both. Have the dream team like me.
Yep, sounds good.
Well, thanks everybody. Okay, I'm going to go through the chat quickly and see who I haven't said hello to. I'm actually going to start again and just say hello to everybody again for the first time because I've forgotten who I did or didn't say hello to. So, Nicole, hello again. Lovely to see you. Anna Lizette, lovely to see you. You got lots of pets, which is always a good sign of a good human, I think. Hebby, of course, has been here with us from the beginning, the wonderful mod doing the hard work. Sarah, aka Scott, lovely to see you. Become a real friend of the channel, even though he's still 80% now, believes Rick's guilty, but we got him down by 18%, so I'm pretty happy with that. We've got Dino has graced us with his presence today. Another wonderful mod. Good to see you. Lisa, lovely to see you. Unindicted co-conspirator, wonderful to see you too. You're always a lovely friend in the chat. Okay. Who else? I'm just getting the most recent people. Diana. Well, what can we say? Diana is a favorite for sure.
Yeah, a little late. Diana was late, but I guess she made up for it.
Yes. Peggy, Deb, love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. And just going back, Mustangs, also a regular. Thanks so much for coming and checking it out. I know there were more people here earlier, and some of them have probably drifted off, and that's totally fine. As I mentioned, I will do a shorter video just summing all of this stuff up. I like to use Canva because it makes my voice sound more professional. My mum said it didn't even sound like me. It's like, it sounds very, very cultured. Anyway, so I will do that. And thank you, everybody, for joining. Shibby, is there anything you want to say before we finish?
Thanks, everyone. I look forward to seeing you next. Bye.
And thanks, Shibby. Thank you, Shibby. You really do help
Yay.
me to promote the channel, and you help me to get my ideas out in lots of different ways. So really appreciate you.
Like I said, I'm just here to ride your coattails. You're the star.
Oh, I love it being a team effort. Oh, and thanks,
love-
Cryptex, again. Another shout out to you. You're going to hear your ears are going to burn, Cryptex, because when I do my very short video that's going to be on confirmation bias, Cryptex gets a shout out, a positive shout out. So I just said he's in the confirmation bias video because he doesn't engage in confirmation bias. So yeah, shout out to Cryptex too. Okay, well, much love to everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. I will be back, I'm sure, over the weekend. I do have my kids this weekend, so I potentially won't be on during the day as much, but I'll try. If I pre-record anything, I'll put it up during the day for you guys, your day. Otherwise, I might do a nighttime session for my Aussie people and the early risers.
Sounds good. Also, stay posted. I just may do my first real live alone.
Oh,
you never know.
Yes. Well, we'll all be out there watching. We'll be looking for you. Actually, I haven't promoted your channel on my channel. I should do that. Sorry.
Oh,
I will do it.
It's okay. Habby did. It's okay. That's okay.
No, I will share it on the community page.
Okay. I'll send you how much again? It's you wanted $100, right? Okay. I'll send it.
Yeah, that'll do for now.
Oh, and the photos. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. Okay. You can have the kitty photos and the puppy photos.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Take care. Bye.
Okay. Bye. Night.